I'm out here in the chicken yard this morning and I'm working on some adjustments to this general area. It's the west side of the chicken yard. And I thought I'd share with folks some concepts that I have, some ways of changing what's been going on that I think will be for an improvement, and to get some feedback from you. So hopefully you stick around. We've been trying to split our attention mainly, almost entirely, towards shipping and local plant pickup. So for those of you that are still waiting for plants, we are working as hard and fast as we can, but we take breaks, quote unquote, for an hour here or there to try to keep our chickens happy and to keep evolving our systems. And so this area, this last season, was an air prune bed area. It had a lot of fencing and a lot of complexity, and we're trying to open that up and think through a way to work with this for the winter that includes this crazy amount of leaf bags that we've been working on. We're up to 5 pickup truck loads now. We've got a little fortress of them. The chickens are still sneaking into that area. I've got to keep an eye on the north side. I think I collected some that were on the wet side. They're warm when I put my hands in between. I need to make sure that they don't get hot. That's definitely a concern when you start caching this much organic matter in a pile. But that tent effect with a little shedding of air, that'll make a nice spot for them to lay eggs. We'll have to watch for. But so then the question is, what do we do with all this amazing leaf material? Well, partly it's going to be used for bedding in the coop. And we'll come up with a more elegant system for storing this. We're going to stack them along the sides to protect from cold air once it actually gets cold. And this will be a great free, absorbent, and nice material for them. We found some bags that had pine needles and this beautiful, I guess it's like ornamental Japanese maple that somebody collected with a lawnmower, so it's all shredded. This material will be beautiful and absorbent for them. And our main composting scene for the summer and fall here, we've got a bunch cached on the side. We're already limited with space overall in this scene, so we kind of had to pack things tight. Sasha found some beautiful ornamental grasses that people had cut, so we wove those in, and we've got a nice little fortress here to protect from the view of the road. And so we can just chip away at these bags as we need them. We still have way more bags than we have space to store them. In fact, the driveway's got about 20 or 30 over there. And with this open space, my thought was, what does it look like to evolve what we've been doing? The chicken wire fencing boundary picture that's been here for a while, it's a little ugly, a little haggard and droopy. And so I'm slowly going through and removing it, and I'm pleased with how well the wooden battens have held it up for all these years. It's been about 5 years. And the original concept of why I wanted that fencing there was to protect these young trees and shrubs. So for example, in front of me, we've got some gooseberry, some black currants, and then this beautiful drooping plant above is a goji berry. And so my thought was, well, let me put the chicken wire up to protect those plants from chickens getting in. But they get in anyway, and they were scratching like crazy. And so now, why not remove this material, have one less set of metal in the landscape? So I'm just going through right down the line. We'll find other uses for that. We'll take it off down this whole thing. And then my thought is to take this 4-foot high stock fencing, 5 foot high, and cut it in half through the middle, and figure out some system where we can have a very low, huge compost ring that we can just keep dumping leaves into. And if that was 2.5 feet high and went from the fence line around the autumn olive, just enough room to have a nice walkway all the way back up to here, I think we could probably dump 100, 200 leaf bags in this area, have it super thick, and then we can bury crates that are filled with seed for stratification in those leaves: pawpaws, persimmons, hazelnuts, chestnuts. We did this last year a little bit, although I did it a lot with soil. This year, if we do it with leaves, it'll be easier to get them out in the spring, and we can add more leaves or move them depending. We don't want to cook the seeds in there, but we do want to keep them protected for the winter. And so it's a visual, low impediment, a great place to easily flow in. The leaf bags come in hard and fast just from there. So it's a small amount of space, and then we can dump the leaves, put the bags back out for either shipping or for mulch later. What are your thoughts on that? I also think the next evolution with planting shrubs and trees in the chicken yard lives in the realm of the long stick and the little stone. And the thought behind that is the chickens can come through and pick every last leaf off that they can reach on these plants, and it's not a big deal because they're much taller. This gooseberry is now pretty established, but what could really kill them over time is continual scratching and pecking. And I'm talking about you, bub. But with the sticks and stones there, they can pick out, you know, the garlic mustard, the other plants that are in between, but not affect the roots of these plants. And it's a very low tech, and to me visually a little bit more appealing than seeing chicken wire rings everywhere. So I think I'm gonna go through now and actually over time pull each of these rings that have been protecting this western sand cherry and a little blueberry in there, and just start putting lots of little stones. And this way we can move those periodically. The warmth from the stones will help encourage growth of these plants. Like here's a male sea berry that I think once this ring is out, I can put some stones. They can't scratch every last drop of soil right around them. I might wait a little longer so that they can't eat every leaf off of there. But I think that's the next step with all this, is less metal, more stones and sticks. It's also a great opportunity to clean up areas and garden beds. Our neighbor's field down the way where we grew sunflower, corn, and millet has tons and tons of this size stone all throughout. And so I can pick them out. They're flat, they're really nice to go around trees and shrubs in the chicken yard, and it makes the field a little bit cleaner. And over at our neighbor's spot, the pond is filling in nicely at this point. And I went through and organized stones. The really large ones we'd like to save for something beautiful in the landscape there, and the small ones can be folded into the chicken yard. So I probably should get back to assembling orders for shipping with Sasha now. But throughout the day, I'll take a break for 10 minutes here or there and zip out another batten, unroll a little more chicken wire, a batten chicken wire, slowly but surely get this whole spool lined up again. And in the meantime, follow right behind it with nice stones and sticks. Once that layout is done, I can go through and cut that wire in half, lay that out in here. I think I may transplant this autumn olive and thornless blackberry first, so that there's no perennial elements at first. Maybe in the spring what ends up happening is we can pull that fencing and we can think through a planting in here, again with that stone idea of some combination of goji berries, mulberries, other small fruit that's useful to us but that can rain down for the chickens, and they can manage the space in between. I'd love to hear some feedback from folks. What do you think about this idea? It's funny to be putting all this effort into collecting other folks' leaf bags, and in the meantime, this gorgeous, massive pin oak right above us, in the last couple days, just all day, just any light breeze, there's another layer on top. So we'll get everybody else's leaves and then have them all mulched in with the leaves from our beautiful tree from above. It feels nice to have these huge caches of dry, carbon-rich, mineral-rich organic matter at the ready for this whole pipeline, and we can deploy it in nice ways and get it set up for the winter run soon. But our hens are having a lovely day while it's still warm and sunny, and these can keep it extra cozy once we get into the winter. Hopefully where you are, there are leaf bags in abundance that are coming from places where folks are just raking up leaves, not putting in weird sprayed stuff. Be careful, use your judgment. But if you see a ton of leaves in front of one place and there's a big oak or a big maple right overhead, pretty good chance that's mainly what's in there. We find them insanely useful and lovely. Hopefully you do too. Other folks' waste can be our wonderful benefit. All right, ladies, have a fun morning. We'll see you a little later. Maybe we'll get 10 or 15 orders together and then we'll come out for a break to work on your chicken run scene. Thanks for watching, folks. Hope you're having a lovely day where you are. Hopefully it's warm and sunny and oddly pleasant for the fall.